Here is me in class like most of the time.
You gotta learn how to train in clean room. But if you're in the state of New York, you're actually not allowed in clean room.
I keep on falling asleep in class, and I really don't know why. I always thought it was because I don't sleep enough, or I don't have my full 8 hours, or it's just the fact that I'm just tired throughout the day because I'm a student. But after taking this class, I realized that there's so much more to it. So here's how it usually goes. I'll be in class, and then I'll have a laptop open. I'll be looking at the laptop and the lecture and listening to the professor talk, but then I'll keep on zoning out during that moment. Like my head will start nodding, and I'll start like closing my eyes without me even realizing, but my eyes wouldn't be closed very long. And in class, I learned that those are called micro sleeps. It's when your brain can't fully stay awake at the moment, and therefore you have those really small lapses of sleep. And it made me realize that me falling asleep in class isn't just about me like being tired, but it's actually about how sleep actually works. So sleep is being controlled by two main systems. First is the circadian rhythm, which is kind of like your internal alarm clock. It's run by like a 24-hour cycle, and it's very heavily influenced by light. So things like being awake during the day and seeing the sunlight compared to being on my phone at night in bed actually controls if I'm sleepy or if I'm awake. And the second system is called the homeostatic sleep drive, which is the pressure to fall asleep the longer you stay awake. So then the longer I go without sleep, the longer that pressure builds up. Like how in a hackathon, I don't sleep for 36 hours. After that day, I became so sleepy. Even though I was so sleepy in the moment, I tried to keep it up, but then afterwards, I just knocked out. I slept for like 12 hours. And then there's this idea of sleep debt, which I hear a lot throughout the conversations I have with my friends, and everyone's always like, oh, I don't have to sleep today. Next is the idea of sleep debt, which is something I hear a lot throughout the conversations with friends, and it's like they would say, oh, I actually slept for 12 hours today, but it's okay because I have sleep debt. And it's because I didn't sleep for like that many hours throughout the week. But sleep debt isn't just about one bad night. It's accumulation of not getting enough sleep over time. In lecture, we talked about how performance is degraded with poor sleep. Things like attention, focus, and reaction time gets way worse when we don't have enough sleep. So when I fall asleep in class, it's not because of the fact that I'm tired, but it's because of like all the buildup that's been like building up this whole time. And we also learned that sleep happens in cycles. And throughout the night, we go through a lot of different cycles. When I was little, I always learned about like REM sleep, but I never really understood what it was until I really looked into it in this class. There's stage 2 sleep, there's stage 2 sleep, slow wave sleep, and REM sleep. And these cycles repeat around every 90 minutes or so. So for instance, I cut my sleep short, and maybe that night I slept for 4 hours instead of 8 hours. I'm not just losing a bit of time, but I'm actually cutting out full cycles that my brain actually needs to function. At one point, I thought, maybe what if I stayed until 4 a.m. tonight, and I wake up at 8, so I have 4 hours of sleep? But it's okay, because I can just have like 1 hour nap throughout the day. That is not effective, and I learned that very well in class. In class, we learned that naps don't really replace nighttime sleep. So like short naps are okay, but then long naps, like 1 hour or 2 hour naps, actually cause sleep inertia, which is like kind of like that groggy feeling when you wake up. So if I'm constantly sleep deprived, taking naps is not really the solution to the problem. Another misconception I had is that I can just push through to sleep. If I feel sleepy in class, I can just push through it. But most of the time, I fail, and I end up kind of like nodding my head up and down and having these micro sleeps. And micro sleeps really show that my brain really does not have a choice. Also, another thing I really want to point out is that schedules is a big thing. Things like class time, late nights, and inconsistent routines can really affect my sleep and how well I actually sleep. So that's why I made a very simple web app that can help me kind of solve the problem, but not really completely, but in a more fun way. So this web app basically gives me a warning every time I start to doze off. So if my eyes close for about like 10 seconds, I'll start to get this warning on my screen that says drowsiness is a red alert. And it really reminds me, not only in sleep and dreams do I get that kind of warning when I fall asleep in class, but also in all my other classes as well, which motivates me to stay awake. But I have to make it clear that this doesn't really help me solve my problem. It doesn't really fix that problem. I really need better sleep in order to like solve this whole sleeping in class problem. But it helps me notice the problem, and it can tally up the amount of times I fall asleep in class and really try to get me to sleep more and get better sleep throughout the night so this never happens again. This class made me realize that getting good sleep doesn't just mean feeling well rested, but it's also my ability to stay present and function well in all my classes and in life in general. Thank you so much.